impacts arising from climate change are wide-ranging and variable, but can be broadly classified into 7 major categories. The first, and perhaps most obvious, is death and disease related to temperature. Abnormally warm weather can lead to heat exhaustion or heat stroke. These extremes can also exacerbate underlying conditions such as lung or heart disease by narrowing airways or upregulating inflammation. Protracted heat exposure may also complicate the management of existing conditions, as some medications can leave patients vulnerable to further heat-associated illness by reducing cooling ability. Climate change influences air quality. Contaminants like ground-level ozone and particulate matter can cause direct injury to the respiratory tract or impair the tissue's natural defense mechanisms, leaving it vulnerable to infection. In response to this damage, the body produces an increased amount of connective tissue that blocks normal gas exchange and reduces elasticity, resulting in more chronic respiratory conditions. But air pollution doesn't just damage the respiratory tract. Fine particulate matter, often referred to as PM 2.5, can cross from the lung to the bloodstream, where it induces systemic inflammation, causing cardiovascular disorders like stroke and ischemic heart disease. One of the most dramatic manifestations of climate change are extreme events. Wildfires, storms, drought, and floods are all climate-associated events that are increasing in frequency, intensity, and duration. Impacts from these events are influenced by the type of disaster, location, species involved, and coping capacity. While immediate injuries and deaths can be substantial, so too are the long-term impacts secondary to displacement, infrastructure damage, food and water contamination, or infectious disease outbreaks. Vector-borne diseases are very impacted by climate change. Longer warm season conditions appropriate for survival of the cold-blooded vectors results in longer infectious disease seasons. Warming trends have expanded the geographic distribution of many vectors and the diseases they carry. The increasing burden of vector-borne disease has major economic and regulatory impacts for people and animals around the world. Changes in both fresh and marine waters have increased and expanded the distribution of water-related illness. Both pathogens and toxins are highly influenced by changes in climate, particularly temperature and precipitation. Warming waters facilitate the growth, survival, and toxicity of many agents. Increased precipitation and related runoff can spread pathogens, contaminate groundwater, and strain existing water protection infrastructure. Lack of water is also a major health problem. Low precipitation and drought conditions can cause dehydration, concentrate agents within water sources, create competition over water resources, and reduce productivity of both plants and animals. Our ability to produce and distribute safe and nutritious food is clearly linked to climate. In addition to causing drought, warming temperatures increase the survival and expand the geographic range of production-limiting agricultural pests such as pathogens and weeds. Food contaminants, like toxin-producing fungi, are more common in drought-stressed crops and proliferate more rapidly in warm conditions. Similarly, temperature and moisture changes alter microbial growth and persistence, resulting in higher pathogen loads on food and more rapid proliferation of organisms in storage, causing spoilage. Climate change can even alter the nutritional composition of plants, particularly protein, zinc, and iron. Like plants, heat-stressed animals have altered growth, reproduction, and survival, which generally reduces productivity or increases product costs when protective measures must be implemented. Finally, climate change is well known to impact mental health and well-being. In humans, this ranges from mild stress to severe clinical disorders like anxiety and depression. The previously described physical health impacts of climate change can also lead to mental health comorbidity. Worldwide, increased competition for resources made scarce by climate change is a source of conflict and warfare. The mental health of animals is poorly understood and not commonly evaluated. However, indirect impacts from the human burden alone is enough to warrant concern because people may become unable to provide appropriate care or protection to domestic and wild animals. The frequency and intensity of climate-associated diseases vary by species, geography, management, and other health-related factors. In this section, we will explore some of these and help you identify issues of importance to the species under your care.